I want you to think about something. AI, did you see like how fast it's developing lately and how almost every week something new comes up and it's like really hard to keep up with everything. Also how easy it has become to build stuff. Like I'm building my own tools with AI, and although like I have sort of a technical background, I'm by no means a developer or anything, and I still can do it. So it's fair to say that the AI has collapsed the cost of production. Like building something is cheaper and faster than ever. So then if the cost of building something collapses and we can build whatever we want, then what has value? So value comes from what's scarce, right? And that's intent. Like what do we want to build? And that's kind of the theme of the presentation I have tonight. How to frame your AI ideas with AI problem framing canvas. And I'm going to introduce you to a very specific tool that we're using with the teams we work with. So a little bit of an introduction. I am John. I am the CEO of Design Sprint Academy. Dana, who was supposed to be the speaker, is my co-founder. She's also my life partner, so we're doing this together. And our work is about helping organizations, helping teams make better decisions around AI. And for that, we use workshops as building blocks. But don't think of workshop as one-off events where people are just playing with Post-its. We actually use workshops as a system, as an operating model inside organizations to help make this decision. So what we do, we train internal AI facilitators, people who are able to do this at scale within the organizations. We also run them with teams working on real AI projects. We're doing two types of workshops, problem framing and design sprints. I'm going to talk about one of them tonight, but one of them essentially is about identifying use cases. The other one is like finding a solution and validating it. And for other organizations who are now more intentional in 2026 around AI transformation, we're setting up AI labs. Think of them as sandboxes where they can explore all sorts of crazy AI ideas while the rest of the organization is taking care of the day-to-day business, so that at one point some of these ideas can move into the main business. So that's kind of what our work is about. We're working mostly with large organizations from all over the world. That's why like I'm on a plane or in a hotel constantly. Luckily today Deutsche Bahn was on time, so I could make it from Berlin. And yeah, that's about us. Good, so I'm going to start my presentation now. It's going to be around 15 minutes. I've done this last week, so I know I can be roughly on time. So where do AI ideas come from? I guess everyone has ideas nowadays with AI, but typically in an organization you have bottom up, where employees are coming up with ideas. They're identifying low repetitive, low value type of task. They see bottlenecks in their daily workflows and processes, right? So they're coming up with ideas to fix or address those. Then you have top-down, more and more actually. You have the leadership mandates. A lot of time they're vague, like let's do something with AI, but sometimes they have lighthouse projects, or they envision a future where like a function is almost entirely driven by AI, so they have all sorts of ideas like this. Then of course there is external inspiration. You're looking in your ecosystem, you're looking at your partners, what they're doing. Maybe you're inspired by reports, or consultants come in and say like, you should be doing this, right? In the end, you end up with a bunch of ideas, right? And then here you're sitting, I don't know, dozens, sometimes hundreds. Like literally I have companies that say like, John, we have 130 ideas. We have 300 ideas. Which one should we do? Because you do have limited budget. You can't just build everything, right? And they all come in different shapes, different language, different assumptions. And then they're so different. Some could be very broad, some could be very narrow, future or immediate, abstract, granular, some more like strategically aligned, some like not. Some high risk, low risk, some start from the problem, some start from a solution. So they can really be all over the place. So then organizations need to decide, how are we going to do this? And you can't realistically look at all of these different ideas and then compare them and say like you're making a good decision when you're looking at apples and oranges. It doesn't work like that. So that's why what happens in this instance, there's a little bit when you have too many things to do and to decide, you get tired, you know, and at one point it's like you just decide something, you pick something, okay, I'm going to do this. It seems like the most simple thing or the safest thing I could be doing. Or politics take over, and whoever has the most authority or presents the best in a best way, not necessarily the best idea, right? They can say, okay, we're going to do this, or you just delegate. It's like you take care of this, or like you know that's not exactly the right thing to do. But like in the end, you choose something, you do it, and it feels like progress because you start building, and then there's going to be meetings, there's going to be prototypes, there's going to be demos, so like all of those things around building something. And then at one point, what happens, and I've seen many of our clients experience this, is you realize that the solutions you've built, it's not doable with the data you have, with the technology you have, like it doesn't integrate. It doesn't solve a real customer problem. It could be like super nice, really good, but like it really doesn't solve something, or people are not using it. There's no clear link to a business goal. What else do we have here? And yeah, it can't integrate in the systems you have today. So many of those things could happen, one of them or all of them, you know, depending on the context, right? Or, oh, I forgot about this, and at the end, like something like legal comes and shuts you down, or even IT, because I know teams that have built agents within their corporation, and then when they wanted to scale IT, they're just like, no, we can't do that. So it's a end of game. So what if you didn't realize all of these things at the end, after you invested time, resources, money into this, but rather at the beginning? And imagine you have a standardized way to collect all of these AI ideas, so you can compare apples to apples, where you don't have to do all of the thinking yourselves, because people submitting the ideas do at least a little bit of thinking, you know, before sending something your way. And then you only review ideas that meet a certain quality bar, because the rest are being disqualified before they even get there. And that's why we created this tool. It's called the AI Problem Framing Canvas, where ideas within an organization or a team, they're not longer submitted in free form, or one person writes a sentence, the other one writes an essay, but like in a very structured way, and then you can compare them across the same dimensions, making it easier to make decisions. What do you want to do with AI? You can download this tool and you can use it yourself. Like I'm just going to give you an example in this thing. We have a Miro version, which is board. Anyone, you're familiar with Miro, I guess? They're here in Amsterdam, so just so you know. And then there's a PDF one as well, like just in case you want to use it in an in-person workshop. But this is the structure. I'll be here because I do need to read certain things. I hope I can see on this screen. But we're starting always with the solution, and then we're asking people, write down the idea you have around AI. And I'm going to give you a very simple example today. That's something that comes from customer service or customer support, and say like, I have this AI solution in mind, like where we automatically analyze incoming support tickets to suggest category, urgency, and the best team for routing. That's the idea. Quite clear, right? Okay, but then with AI, we then categorize or label this as AI assisted, AI augmented, and AI powered. And what does it mean? AI assisted is like where the AI supports the human by making suggestions, recommendations, but like the human always stays in control. AI augmented is where a workflow is changed by AI, because part of it is being digitized, automized, right? But the human is still in the loop and oversees. And then we have AI powered, which is completely run by AI, right, end to end. And in this case, let's say that this idea, we want to make it AI augmented. We want to keep the human in the loop, but we do want to use AI for parts of the workflow. And then one important thing that we're asking teams to do is to think of, okay, you have this idea, but like, what does today look like? Like, how do you work today? What's the status quo and your current workarounds? And then there could be things like they support agents read tickets, they interpret free text, they set category, urgency, and route to a team. This is something they do. During peak volumes, triage quality varies between agents. And the idea is when you do this, when you write them plainly, you can then see the workarounds teams come up with, like, or how they work today, and the manual work that they're overseeing, maybe, or the unofficial rules and shortcuts they're taking in their work, right? So you get to see all of those things. And then also, like, if I have an idea or a solution around AI, what problems am I solving for my team or for my organization? So it's really good to spell those out. And for example, problems we have here, as we said before, trial speed and quality vary based on agent's experience, right? Or urgent issues get flagged late while simple requests soak up senior people's time. So those could be some of the issues that we encounter. So we start here. What's the problem? What's the context? And what are the issues that we're solving with it? And then we always want to link it to the business, because if you don't link it to the business, especially in large organizations, then it's not going to get built, right? So the business domain here would be customer support or operation. And then ideally, you want to link it to a goal, like an OKR, if you're familiar with that, like whatever metric the company needs to move. So this would be the goal. Great, so we have the idea, we managed to link it to one of the goals, and then whatever else we have. Then we're moving into the customer side of things. Now, we have a solution, who's going to use it? Because I've seen this scenario as well, where people are actually coming up with good solutions within their organizations, but like employees are just not using that workflow. So who is the customer or user here who's going to interact with the AI solution? And in our case, it's going to be customer support agents or team leads that are handling these incoming tickets. What's their problem? Like, what can we help them do better? So this is the customer problem, not necessarily the company problem that we're solving. So you could hear them say, I just waste a lot of time figuring out what this ticket is actually about, right? Or the problem is vague and I'm not sure what the customer wants, or I don't know what happened before this, I don't have the context, I don't know how to answer it or reproduce it. So here we have these things. And then with AI, what's important is also to consider very early data feasibility and risk, because again, I've seen agents that worked beautifully as a demo, but then once put in production they failed because data was not there. So we want to look at how clean is the data, how the quality of the data, do we have access to it, how fresh it is, how structured, unstructured it is. So for this one, we can say, okay, data available, we have the history of all of the tickets, we have categories, priorities, resolution times. Cleanliness, it's kind of mixed. Access via our help desk system that we have in place for years, freshness, tickets arrive in real time, so we do get access to it, but like it might be sensitive because it includes personal information. So those are like some things we know around this idea about data. And then we're looking at technical integration and feasibility. We can say our help desk has API, so potentially we could connect to it, so that's okay. But yeah, this integration is required. The team has limited experience with machine learning, but they're like really good at backend, so probably they could build it. So maybe initial implementation is more AI assisted than AI end-to-end. And then, of course, there's legal compliance and trust things like GDPR for the sensitive data, transparency, misclassification, so these sort of problems. So those could be some concerns around legal compliance and risk. Now, imagine like somebody does this, like ideas come already formed because it forces them to think about everything that's important about a potential AI solution. Now, it doesn't guarantee success, but like it guarantees that you can fail early because you're considering all of this. So what changes this for you? As the person bringing the idea, pitching it within your organization or within your startup to your teams, you show that you understand the trade-offs and you surface feasibility data and risk concerns really early, and then you connect your ideas to outcomes, not necessarily to, hey, I want to build an AI feature. Like one of my clients is saying, put a bird on it. Like we have everything, put a bird on it, like AI. And then as the person making the call in the organization, right, like what do we do with AI? It saves you time because ideas come to you framed the same way. And then it's very easy for you to justify why you're saying yes to this and no to that. Right? Like you do have this criteria. And then you build consistency across team. You're basically scaling decision making across your teams in a very easy way. And why this matters to both? Because while like at junior level and senior level, people are, let's say, evaluated and rewarded on different things. At the end of the day, when you come with like a well-structured ideas like this, you demonstrate decision quality. And that's important for both, in both parts. Good. So what do we have, what do we achieve with the problem framing canvas? Imagine you're using it with your teams. That's like very good in large organizations. Everyone is submitting ideas, you can visualize them in a standardized way, and then it basically makes better decisions possible. But it doesn't, filling in this canvas doesn't mean that you've made the decision, right? Like you still need to make the decisions, but like it's a very good start. And then what you can do afterwards, like it's easy just by looking at them to dismiss some of them. Maybe they're not linked to business goals, or maybe they don't have a customer problem in there, or maybe there's like issues around data. So it's like easy to make an initial triage, but you still probably have a bunch of them to do. And then you want to pick your bets. How do you do that? You need to make those decisions, and that's something that we like to say. There's no AI unicorn, somebody making all of the decisions. Maybe you have sometimes a CEO who's already making all of the decisions, but it's very rare. Like what I've seen is that AI touches many functions, different stakeholders, they all need to be involved in this decision making. The thing is, so that's why decisions are about collective intelligence, right? Like you need to have data people, you need to have AI experts, you need to have the business functions, you need to have risk, IT, people who are building, external vendors, whatever the context is, like there's multiple people that see parts of the problem, and you need their input to make those decisions. The problem is that collective intelligence and this sort of collaboration and decision making does not happen by default in any organization. That I can tell you for sure. So that's why it needs to be designed, it needs to be facilitated. Otherwise, you end up spending weeks, months on meetings, emails, Slack threads, whatever system you have for collaboration to get to a point. Instead, what we're doing, we're designing this conversation using an AI problem framing workshop. And that's kind of a recipe, a repeatable way in which you can make decisions as a team. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview of this, and then I'm done. Basically, this is a one-day workshop where you get in the right mix of people, think stakeholders, decision makers, your experts, people who need to make decisions around those AI opportunities. And then they follow a very structured process where we start maybe counterintuitively because it's called problem framing, but we start with solutions, with ideas, and then we go through some decision gates, like how do they link to the business, how do they link to the customer problems, what's the context, the workflow that we're trying to change, or the customer experience, and then we finish with these AI use cases that clearly state for who is the solution, who experience what sort of problem. We believe there's an opportunity to use a certain AI capability to help them achieve whatever outcome they want to achieve. And this opportunity is aligned this way with our business goals. Now, this is not 100% certainty. It's still a hypothesis that needs to be validated through an experiment or something, but at least it's an informed decision. And then you get everyone on the same page, and you have looked at all of the dimensions before saying, yes, I think this is a good bet. So that's basically how we work with many teams, starting with collecting in a standard way and then doing some triaging, and then in the end using this, I call them AI discovery pods, these cross-functional teams. Basically, it's teams formed ad hoc around problems, which is not how usually organizations work because they're organized by function or org chart, but this is organized around problem. You just like assemble them when you need, and then after they make the decision, everyone goes their way and they work. So yeah, that was it. What we've learned today: AI problem framing canvas helps you capture AI ideas in a structured way. Okay, so you compare apples to apples. You can then do a triage just by looking at the dimensions. See, is this linked to a business goal? Is it not? Right? And then finally, using a workshop to make the decisions. Workshop, why workshop? Because there's not one single role that can make all of the decisions, and you want to get early the input from relevant stakeholders. And that was my presentation. Thank you so much.